Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports.
Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports with Tyler Drake and Lauren Koval.
There will be no revenge game for Josh Dobbs. That is not happening. Instead, it was an Arizona Cardinals 47-24 win over the San Francisco 49ers to close out the regular season. They finish at 8-9, and here to break it all down, Cardinals Corner. We're back. Tyler Drake, Lauren Koval, how we doing?
Well, Tyler, let's open this pod up with a humble brag, if you will.
Oh.
Your own humble brag. I'm setting you up.
For what?
What was your record prediction?
Oh,
and
geez.
What is the Arizona Cardinals
I totally
record?
did not get set up for that well because I completely missed that mark. 8-9. There we go. Yeah, that was a prediction that we had. Maybe not all the games lined up exactly, but end of the day, 8-9.
And that's
second or
what
third that I've gotten right on the number.
That's what matters in the end. This game.
That's what matters.
Yeah, that's what matters.
The meaningless game, that is what matters.
Yes. Well, in the meaningless game, it decided whether or not your record prediction was correct or
yours.
my record
that
prediction
is true.
was correct.
We should have. We should have had a bet on it.
We should have wagered something.
Darn it.
I'll buy you something.
I guess next year we'll have to.
We'll revisit it all
always
next year. Yep.
But yeah, so how you doing? Obviously, and on a high note, 47-24. I believe they won 6 games at home, so that's a good positive there. Honestly, I don't really want to dive too far into this game because, let's be real, it was I believe Tim Ring said it best, zombie 49ers team because there was injuries, there was Josh Dobbs, there was just
Guerrero going out that early in the game.
A little bit of everything there. Yeah. So, yeah, it should have been a beat down there. Obviously, Kyler Murray still got to get it done through 4 touchdowns. Good on him to see touchdowns and not interceptions. So that was a good thing. Again, though, grain of salt. 49ers were very banged up. But I think that is just, hey, end of the year. Got to have something. There you go.
In a game that meant nothing for either team, it was nice to see the Cardinals actually pull this one out and look to be trying and put a little effort into this. I mean, Shrub Murphy-Bunting with that interception wasn't an easy grab, but he had it. The extracurricular activities. Yeah, I'm just going to say extracurricular activities, but sure, the fight also just showed the passion that this team still had at this point in the season.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, like I said, we're not diving into the X's and O's of this. Let's just take a full view of this season. It's very much, there's 2 sides of it. And I wrote about this on ArizonaSports.com. Dan Bickley wrote some of this too. His own column, my column, a little bit of tag team there. Are you more optimistic about the progress that was made? Because let's be real, they doubled the win total, did much better at home, 3-3 against the division. Those are big positives in my opinion. More on the progress side or more on the frustrated that they didn't do more this year with the opportunity that they had?
Frustrated that they didn't do more. And the reason that I end up being frustrated is because of what happened post the bye week. I mean, our record predictions should have been nowhere near accurate by the time we got to the bye week. I mean, sitting on that going, wow, they're going to blow this win total out of the water, or at least they should. And so if the season had almost been switched, like if they had started the season losing all of these games and then won in the latter half, I'd then turn around and go, no, this was definitely an improvement. I'm glad that we saw a turnaround. If I'd even sat here and you just told me their record, like if we could go back to the beginning of the season and you said, this is the Cardinals record.
They will win 8 games.
Yes. I said, that'd be a success. That'd be a success. That season looked great. Seeing how that season played out left me with a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Oh, man, you said that really good, how you flipped that, too, because I was going to say the complete opposite side, but I liked how you put that. I'm still going to say that other side because, there's a bad stretch there at the end, and it's a common trend for this team in recent years, probably a good chunk of years.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, I kind of take that one out because they won more games in that second half than they did in the first half, but still not a great showing, but progress was still made. And yes, you're going to look at the 4-game win streak, heading into the bye at 6-4, being atop the NFC West, having that opportunity to really sneak a divisional crown out of this year because you had the Niners falling off, Seattle and LA had their own struggles, and you just let it slip through your hands. And that's going to be something that I think a lot of people, like you mentioned too, like that's going to be what a lot of people remember for this team. But you also have to look at the things that I mentioned too. You double the win total. Yes. Are other teams doing it a little bit quicker? Sure. Are other teams getting in the playoffs? Sean Payton in Denver. Yes. Not every rebuild, not every revamp is the same. And that's what we have to understand. That's what Cardinals fans have to understand is it's not one size fits all. This is a different team than Denver. This is a different team than Houston. This is a different team than Detroit when they were trying to find their way. So progress is still getting made. Yes, things have got to change heading into year 3 with this new regime. Kyler Murray's got to be consistent. That has got to happen. But the fact that we saw him go, 12 touchdowns to 3 interceptions the first 10 games, promising. What happened that last 7 games where it's got to be changed? Because that's what's got to be fixed. It's not every game we've got to fix this. No. It's second half struggles. What needs to change? That's what it comes down to. And I think last year, this time we're saying, all right, this needs change, this needs change, this needs change, this needs change. There's still changes that need to be made. Easily. Front seven's got to be revamped a little bit more. Pass rusher, they've got to figure it out. But in terms of what we were at last year to this year, way different. So yeah, frustration should definitely be a part of it. But I think at the end of the day, progress should be there. Because if we're looking at a 4-13 team again, I don't really know where this team's going.
No, and I think that's a fair point. And your point on what are we almost looking at for next season? Or what have we sort of seen but we overlooked? Mm-hmm. And that sort of builds upon, in no ranking whatsoever, but 3 things I would be interested to see as we head into this offseason is obviously Kyler Murray. What's going to happen with him? What's his growth level? You've banked on him for next year because of the money that you've given him.
Yeah, and I just don't think there's any... unless you can find a trade partner and find somebody that is really going to move the needle more than Kyler right now, I just don't see that.
No.
I really don't see that.
And I don't see that as an option that even the Cardinals would necessarily pursue at this time.
I feel like that's taking them backwards too.
Yeah, that's moving you back. It's always the argument of you don't like what you have, but you don't know what's out there. Mm-hmm. But it's also, you don't know what's out there. Mm-hmm. What if you bring somebody else in and they're not as good as Kyler?
Yeah.
You don't know where that's going to fall. And we know that this regime likes to build in the draft with young players. Mm-hmm. This quarterback draft is not a very strong one.
No.
And so you don't want to go out there and draft a quarterback. That's also not something this team's been focused on. So Kyler heading into next season will be a big point for Cardinals fans, for the team. What can we expect to see? I mean, remember earlier in this season, we were saying Drew saying he's going to get calls for head coaching jobs.
He's dialing it up. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Kyler's in the MVP talks a little bit. Drew's starting to get more.
Look at how confident he looks. And now we have done a complete 180 and we never really got back to it. I mean, people were still saying, what is this regime doing on the offensive side of the ball? You know, they need to put up more points.
Yep.
That wasn't supposed to be our concern. The defense was supposed to be. And instead, the defense won them some games, or at least kept them in those games.
Pleasantly surprised by what the defense did this year.
Exactly.
For how much of a liability it should have been. Yes, it still had its issues, but man, was it not nearly as bad as I think we all expected it to be with all the injuries and everything else. But yeah, I think, started with Kyler. Where else were you going?
I was going to go with second-year players.
Okay.
Now heading into their second year. Somebody like Darius Robinson, somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr., somebody like Rabbit. What are they going to do? Max Melton, even. You know, we didn't get to see a lot of Elijah Jones at all. At all. What is he going to bring to the table? It's always that second-year jump because somebody like Garrett Williams, he made that jump.
CB1.
We saw him make that jump this season. Who can make a similar jump? Were expectations for Marvin Harrison Jr. this season too high? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
he still had 8 touchdowns. I think he tied Fitz and Bolden. Mm-hmm. I think he tied his dad. Yeah, believe so. I think the only thing he didn't beat his dad is in catches as a rookie.
And we assumed that he'd be better because we thought he would be the number 1 target for Kyler Murray. And he wasn't the number 1 target for Kyler Murray. He wasn't number 2 in a lot of ways in crunch time scenarios. And so...
And I think that also bleeds into the first point too, is Kyler and him have got to get on a better get on the same page a little bit more. That was one thing. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Oh, no, go.
Post-game, Kyler even talked about it. These last 2 games, he made it a point with him to, we're out of it. Let's try to build. Let's try to get a rhythm. And he said that post-game. I was like, okay, I think that's what everybody wanted you to say, man. Like, great. That is what you should be saying. That's what you should be doing. Focus in real time because you guys have both talked about how game reps are the best reps. Okay, do it. Go out there and do it. So it was good to see that, and I think it's very much the same thing. Kyler's got to be that leader again this offseason and not only get with Marvin, but the rest of those guys and really take them to that next level. Okay, last one, third point.
Oh, I was going to say on
going.
that point as well is that I wouldn't mind seeing him in a preseason game.
Oh, no, I wouldn't either.
And
I don't think a lot of people would either.
Just to build on that chemistry. And my third point is just sort of that second half dip that we've become all too accustomed to is what is going to happen in the second half of next season. You played yourself into third in the division. The jump between those teams that now you face off against is huge.
Yep.
Huge talent-wise. And things aren't going to drastically change for those bottom half teams that you would have faced off against, that now you're playing instead the third best team. In some of those divisions, you got an ugly draw. And you're going to have to go...
They have the Bengals in one.
They have the Bengals. Ooh. They have the Packers.
Again.
So if you have to play these teams, on the road in January, on the road in December, I feel like we're going to start rehashing the same things, and you already have to think to get ahead of that. And yes, is that a very pessimistic view of things? Yes. But it's also something that has proven its ugly head over and over and over again with this team. So my third point is just, let's see if that can change.
Yeah.
Also, they have a ton of money.
They have a ton of money. And that will be my fourth point on top of your third point. Gotta get out there and spend. I liked what they did last year. Brought in some guys that I thought availability-wise were great. Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols. Ended up not happening. Bad luck there. You got to go get some premium talent, and it can't be in the draft. You talked about it. They want to do everything through the draft. It's a great way to get your nucleus. You have got to go get somebody.
But do you know the proof of that, exactly that point, is Beach this season? Because you have to keep veteran talent around. Because if your rookies or somebody else start to go down, you need somebody who knows.
Or your other your supposedly premium right tackle goes down.
Exactly. Yeah. You need somebody who can pretty seamlessly transition into that role because they've played in the NFL for a while. And Beach let you do that this season, and we didn't see a lot of fall on that side of the line. I mean,
it was a luxury.
Expected.
It was a luxury to have a guy like Beach in that position because it's. How many starters can you have as a depth piece? I mean, not much.
No, and it doesn't really exist in the NFL. So with all of your cap space, all of your money that you have, yes, you love to hold on to all of your draft picks. The Cardinals continue to have a plethora of draft picks.
Make some trades.
Yes. Yep. Move the needle.
Yep.
Do something else. You made Baron Browning happen this season.
Yep.
That ended up working out well for you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, not fantastic, but well. And do something a little bit more for this team.
A little more flashy.
Yeah.
Yep.
For fans and the team.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, now we go from season to off season, which means we also go to draft. And guess where they're picking? Number 16. What should they do with that pick? If they don't trade it, because we just talked about trading.
We did just talk about trading. I want to say trade it. Trade it.
Okay.
No. I mean, you need to bring in some edge help.
Okay. Yep.
You need to bring in some edge help.
Yep. I would agree there. And I really would like to see a trade too. I'll be honest.
So you're going to cheat your own question with, can't say trade, but I'm going to say trade.
No, okay. I think edge help. I was also trying to
stall
a little bit because I wanted to make sure I got this right. And I'll give you a really early name too. Jalen Walker. Dude is, I think a lot of people might freak out because he does play inside linebacker too, but he's like a Mac Wilson Sr. 2.0. Just the versatility side of it.
Okay.
So that's a guy very, very early. Like I got to do a little digging.
Yeah.
But he's been a name that stuck out. I think he just won an award too. Like, I mean, the dude is just, seems like he is the real deal.
And that's 16 is a tricky number in the draft because you're past the top 10 talent. We also now have a draft order for the most part. You know, the top half of that draft, we got an order there. So now we know who's, how many teams
Tennessee Titans are number one.
Yeah, how many teams are going to take a quarterback? That always seems to be the $1 million question. Who's taking a quarterback?
Tennessee Titans probably should.
At this rate, yeah.
Unless they really like mayo. Mayonnaise, not Gerard.
Yeah, no.
He's gone.
He's gone. They gave up. The
From the
Pats gave
Patriots.
up on him. The Pats gave up on him fast. But no, you have to look around and then go, okay, how many teams are taking a quarterback? Who's taking Travis Hunter? Like, and then what are the teams above you
that's
taking?
True. That's
Who
true.
needs an offensive lineman? Who needs a running back? You know, those sort of things. And who's really a standout in that position? I mean, we had a run on cornerbacks in the draft a few years ago. The year that Christian Gonzalez went, the year that Devin Witherspoon went. We had a ton of cornerbacks drafted in that class.
And all those dudes are just balling.
And all of them are awesome.
Yep.
So you have to sort of look around at that too and go, all right, yeah, do the Cardinals need an edge? But what if there's that special player that falls to us at 16? Who is that and how do we get him?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think and I think everybody knows it. It's no secret. Front seven edge, that's where you start. Mm-hmm. And then you build from there. So I guess I don't have anything else to say. This season finale, we're wrapping too. Any other parting words that you have for the season for Cardinals fans?
This season was really exciting in a lot of ways. It still had me excited. Maybe not for this game against the Niners. No. That I couldn't get up for. I couldn't get excited for that one. But this team still showed what they could do. And do we have a better idea in kind of a make it or break it season with Kyler Murray? If we think he made it or if he didn't. Yeah. And I think we can all sort of stand firmly on our soapboxes now that we know what we can get from Kyler Murray. And that's something we need to see this season.
Yep.
Whether we liked it or not.
Yeah. And this is going to be a big year for him because I think, like he said, because Jonathan Gannon talked about it, they had a meeting Saturday night. He talked to the team, talked about how time is fleeting. I think that's the case with him. Mm-hmm. He's been around a long time now. I mean, 7 years, I believe that's where we're at. Mm-hmm. One playoff showing and not a very good one.
A horrible one.
It's make or break time for Kyler. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be a big offseason to see how he can kind of set himself up and set the offense up to move forward. Drew Petzing, same thing. He's got to really dial back in and figure out what was working well and what ended up really going south. So until that,
that's the season.
That's the season. Thanks everybody for stopping by every week as we previewed and recapped and did all that. And we aren't really going anywhere because the off season, NFL doesn't sleep. So we will be back throughout the weeks giving you up-to-date information surrounding the Cardinals. We'll do some more breakdown of the season, who we liked, who we need to see more out of, all that jazz. So be sure to keep it locked on the Arizona Sports app, 98.7 ArizonaSports.com. Follow Lauren at Colville_Lauren. Follow me at T Drake for Sports. Follow the show at AZ Cards Corner. And just go follow somebody else because it's nice to follow back sometimes. But until then, we'll talk to you guys when we talk to you. Have fun and be optimistic. It's frustrating, but be optimistic. It's turning around. We'll be back next time.